Hey everyone, and welcome to the podcast for January 12th, 2021. As always, I'm Abram Pilch, editor-in-chief of Tom's Hardware, and I'm joined by Raspberry Pi expert Ash Puckett, associate editor Les Pounder, and our very special guest today, Jesse Lozano of Pitop. Hi, Jesse.
Hey everybody, thanks for having me. Good to be on.
So Jesse has I'm going to just give a minute for people to filter in so we have more people can see what we're doing. So Jesse, I have to start by asking you the question that we ask everybody, which is how many Raspberry Pis do you own?
I don't know. Do numbers go that high? It's more than, it's going to be more than 50 at least.
Maybe we should start keeping high score.
Yeah, that's
it's not, it just over time, it's like, they just add up. And when you've been working with Raspberry Pis for as long as I have, you just keep getting more, and they, it's not a problem until you can't store them, right?
Yeah.
How many do you have within reach?
Yeah. Well, within reach, just one.
Yeah, it's I mean, it's certainly like every time I order of stuff, like particularly from Adafruit or something like that, it's like, oh, I should get another Raspberry Pi because I know I'm going to need it. So now I have like at least 20 of them, and I've probably gotten like 5 more in the last 2 weeks. So yeah, you could say it's an addiction, but it's, when you start putting them into things, you don't want to take it out. So it just
exactly.
It's a part of thing. How many batteries do you own? I mean, like, you're not going to buy one set of AA's and move them around. So Pitop, we've talked before on the show about your Pitop 4, but for those who aren't familiar, can you tell us a bit about the Pitop company and what you guys do?
Yeah, sure. So Pitop, we've been around for 6 years. We make Raspberry Pi sort of simple, fun, and modular, and we apply it towards education at home and in the school. We just, we've got this new Pitop 4. It's great. It's a little programmable device. It's got, a battery, internal cooling, all the ports, a little OLED screen on the front, and these programmable buttons. You've got access to your GPIO pins right there. And, it's a really fun way to learn with the Raspberry Pi, integrate a whole bunch of components that we've got, and other accessory kits, which I'm sure I'll be talking about in just a bit, like the new robotics kit that we've brought out. The whole point about this is that it's super easy to start learning, especially with our platform Further, which is our software platform, and you can get straight into integrating and coding LEDs, ultrasonic sensors, buttons, and buzzers. But you can go really far along with it. We say sort of super easy to start, very wide walls, so you can apply it to a whole bunch of stuff, and high ceilings, so you can get into machine learning or computer vision, AI, that type of stuff with the product set as well. So all over the place, but really fun and easy to start with.
Great. So just last week, you announced a new robotics kit that works with the Pitop 4, correct?
Yeah.
Can you tell us about that?
Yeah. So I've got a little setup here. So the cool thing about Pitop is you can build loads of stuff with it, and whenever you create a project, you're saying when you have a Raspberry Pi and you make a project around it, you don't want to take it out of the project. Well, this is one of the cool things with the 4 is that you can just snap your Pitop 4 onto this robotics kit, and then when you want to use it as your computer or for another project, you just snap it off and go use it doing something else. But the robotics kit, it's $199. Comes with this expansion plate right here, and this expansion plate's got a lot of really cool things that you can do with it. It's got all the usual stuff that you would see, these little 4-pin connectors that you can hook up all of our sensors or Grove sensors to. You can control that from our software platform further, or just load code onto your Pitop and control it with Python. But it's also got connectors here to run, these beefy encoder motors that have Hall effect sensors in them, and little servo motors that come with the kit, and a camera that comes with the kit. So between all the ports that you've got on this expansion plate, the ports that you've got on your Pitop, you can add a whole bunch of stuff that you want to add to it. But importantly, to start with, it's really easy to build this. All these bits and pieces you can snap on and off with these rivets, and you can follow our instruction guide to create a fun robot straight away that you can start learning with and start doing things with. But as you can imagine, you can build pretty much anything with this. When you've got an ultrasonic sensor, you've got Hall effect motors, and you've got a camera. And inside this little thing, you've got an IMU that's got a gyroscope, an accelerometer, a magnetometer, which gives you 9 degrees of freedom of control. You can really start to do some complicated and fun stuff with it.
That's awesome. So what are some of besides building a robotic car, are there other types of robots you can build with it?
Yeah, so we, really, it sounds, it sounds like a trope, but it's true. Really, your imagination is kind of the limiting factor with what you can build with it. It's not just wheeled robots. You could build walking robots. You could build something that sorts colored ping pong balls. People love doing that using computer vision. You could build something completely different, like I love plants, as you can probably tell. You could create something that automatically waters your plants using the motors and some sensors from Grove. Really, it's a whole range of things that you could do. But my favorite things to do are, when it comes to education, colored ball sorting, line following robots, using computer vision to identify, items in the room. We did a really cool demo with Microsoft at their .NET conference, where we were using Microsoft Teams and the robotics kit to look around a room and identify Pokemon cards. All sorts of stuff.
How would one mount the camera?
So the camera is just like any one of our sensors. It's got these little magnetic clips that you can pop in the bottom of them, and then those you can just attach to any of these rivets onto this chassis here. So you can use our metal construction bits. These are also Lego compatible, so you could create a sort of little like Lego structure on top of here and have your cameras mounted that way as well. What most people, I imagine, will do is connect the camera to a servo motor so that you can control the viewing of the robot using the servo motor. So yeah, that's how you would attach it to the robot. Oh, and this is a USB camera. So you could use this camera. You could also use in conjunction with this one, the Raspberry Pi camera. Out the back here, you've got ribbon cables for a camera and a display if you'd like. So it's all about giving people the optionality of how they want to use the kit, but giving people a really great set of components to start with, so that you're not, so that you're not going, oh, I wish I had this, or this would be really great if I had this. Well, we've kind of got you covered when it comes to starting off with everything.
I have a question about the expansion plate, because I've got the Pitop 4 here, and it came with this guy, and it looks a little bit different.
Plate, yeah.
I want to know what's different on the new one.
So the expansion plate has added ports specifically to control motors, servo motors, and like I said, it's got that IMU in it, and that really is so that you can build robotics projects that have depth. There's a lot of kits out there that are really great at starting, I suppose, and then there's a sort of limiting factor in terms of what tech is put into this kit. We didn't want that to be a factor when you're building things with with Pitop, and so that expansion plate has those has that technology built into it. It's also got a couple of extra USB ports, USB-C as well, to if you wanted to add like a battery bank or connect something like that. And it's got the Raspberry Pi 40-pin connector out the back as well. Good. So if there's a hat that you'd like to attach on the back, you could attach it on the back like that. Equally, you could just pop it on the top of the Pitop like that as well. So basically, more ports and the IMU come with the expansion plate.
Very nice.
So where does the robot get power from if you don't attach a separate power bank? Does it get it from the battery within the Pitop?
Yeah. So Pitop comes with a great little battery in it. It'll run the Pitop 4 for about 5 hours. If you're doing a robotics project, depending on what you're doing, if it's just running around like crazy all the time, then you won't get 3 hours out of it. You'll get maybe an hour and a half. Like most electronics projects, it just depends on what you're powering with the battery. But yeah, all you need is this. You plug it into the top of your robotics project, and it's powered and ready to go.
Wow, fantastic! That's going to make things so much easier. Now, what age do you target this for? Are you targeting kids primarily?
Yeah, so it's kind of like, what age does Raspberry Pi target? It's anybody who wants to learn, or anybody who has a specific project in mind that they wanna create. We really focus on that 13 to 18-year-old age range, and certainly some of the more complicated things that you can do with the robotics kit. It'd be totally suitable in a university level environment. When you're working with things like computer vision and AI within robotics, it's quite an advanced level of learning that goes on there, more advanced than I am. So it's really for people that want to have a great start to robotics, but also you can imagine what would you build with it. There's a whole lot that you can do.
Yeah, no question. I also think, given some of the news of the last week around batteries, that having something with a robot with a built-in, I'd say probably safe battery is probably a selling point, because I don't know. I think the feedback that I've seen on this and social media is mixed or whatever. But last week, I don't know if you all know this, the Consumer Product Safety Commission in the U.S. put out a warning about they don't recommend people buying 18650 batteries. Well, 186, for those who don't know, 18650 batteries power a lot of the robots and robot kits that people buy. Like this robot here that my son and I built, this Adept robot that we got over the holiday break. It didn't come with batteries, but it said you got to buy 18650 batteries to run this. So I bought them, and now I'm going to be really careful because there's a lot of warnings out there. Granted, these type of batteries have been on the market for years and years, so I'm not sure that there's any like imminent danger that there wasn't before. Just people got to be really careful on how they charge and handle them. But I think for a lot of robots and robot kits, they kind of rely on you to use these kind of clunky, somewhat dangerous battery solutions rather than having it built right into the box and USB chargeable. So I think that's a real pro.
Well, yeah, and it's I can understand why a company wouldn't want to do the whole battery thing, because it's a difficult exercise to go through, right? Not only are batteries are difficult to source, but it makes the logistics side of things more complicated. But we've never shied away from difficult things at Pitop, and it's just always, I've always just thought, if I was going to buy something, if I was going to buy a robotics kit or something, I just hated it when I was a kid. You'd get something and it'd be like, oh, batteries sold separately, and you're just like, oh, why? And there's reasons why, but we don't want that type of experience. When you get a Pitop product, really, it's everything that you need to get started with, and that for me, it's just the fact. If I got something I'd want it and it needed batteries, I'd want it to have batteries in it, and I feel like that's the world over what people just want, right?
Oh, no question about it. So Pitop used to make, or I don't know if you guys still make it, a laptop, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Are you still making that, and do you foresee? And and I'm just curious why you haven't brought that over to the Pi 4.
Yeah, so we started out, initially as a build-it-yourself laptop, project a long time ago, and we have brought it over in a way with the Pitop 4, and I just so happen to have one here. So we've got a display and keyboard accessory to the Pitop 4, and all you do is you just clip it, just like everything else, clip it into the back, and then boom. I didn't bring the keyboard into this room, but we've got a little Bluetooth keyboard that you pop right here, and it's like a little little portable laptop. And when you get the DIY version of the Pitop 4, it retains a lot of that build-it-yourself knowledge that we were teaching with the original Pitop laptop, you'll be able to, you can get that kit as well. The reason that we've gone this way is like it's a really nice screen, touch screen, HD. With robust, it's as robust as any premium laptop that you would buy in the market in terms of the viewing angles of that screen, the HD just niceness of the screen. There's a few there's a few screens that you can get that kind of work natively with the Raspberry Pi, but again, we wanted to bring that level of quality and that finished nature that we like to bring at Pitop to the screen side of Raspberry Pi. And and the fun thing with that is you got a DisplayPort connector here with it as well, and you can just buy a Raspberry Pi and buy the screen and connect it straight into that screen. And you can also use that screen as a second screen for your laptop or your PC as well, and not have it connected to a Raspberry Pi either. With a lot of these things that we do, we're all engineers at Pitop, and we all love using the Raspberry Pi, and we all love just using computers in general. And so there's a lot of things that when you're building a product, you're like, hey, wouldn't it be great if it did this? And it should be able to integrate with that. You should be able to connect it to this. And now that we've had 6 years to sort of get to this place, well, we've done a lot of that work over this last 6 years. And so yeah, I think we've thought about, pretty much everything you could think about when you're building a robust portable Raspberry Pi thing, and then all the stuff that you might want to connect into it. So, yeah.
So we have a user question: does the screen power from the contained battery in the Pi?
Yeah, it can do. You can obviously also, plug it in like any other laptop to the wall and have it charging whilst you're using it.
Great. So speaking of things that are very plugged in, Les, you were going to show today quickly how you've added a new wrinkle to using the PiCade and booting into RetroPie.
Yeah, that's right. So over the holiday break, I demonstrated my arcade machine, which is a Raspberry Pi 4 powered PiCade. And yeah, you saw it. It worked really well. But there was something missing. And I hark back to the days of 1980s, 1990s, where I would frequent arcades in the town that I live. I live in a seaside town. And you would see these arcade machines playing these attention-grabbing videos to get you to play the game, to pony up with your money to play. And I thought, well, I need one of them for my arcade, because it just boots up now to just a screen with text flying along. So I thought, well, I'll make one. So over the holiday break, I taught myself a little bit of video editing with something called DaVinci Resolve. I'm going to quickly show you DaVinci Resolve's interface. I'm not going to do any editing with it here because it's quite time-consuming. But this is a timeline, and I can move backwards and forwards around it to see what's going on in the video. And I can edit it and add animations, text, anything I want, and it's all free. So DaVinci Resolve, I thought was really good. So I edited a really quick little sequence where it just has a 1980s effect of blurry TV. And it's got my logo in the bottom left to say it's my PiCade. So I thought, okay, how do I get this onto a PiCade? Well, I need to use SFTP in this case to send it over. Now, bear with me while I just go to the second screen. And there is the final video. And inside, this is my Raspberry Pi on my desk right now. This is a demo Raspberry Pi. I have the RetroPie SD card mounted. So I can go to splash screens in Home Pi RetroPie splash screens, and I can copy this file across. Done. It's only a small file. And now I can go to that Pi, which is on my desk. And this is where it gets a little weird for me because it's backwards to me, but it's the right way around for you, so I can't really see the screen very well. Let's see, splash screens. So I go to the configuration, to RetroPie configuration, go down to splash screens. It's going to come into a little NCurse interface, and it says choose splash screen. And it should say choose your own from that folder. And it should say PiCade intro, which I've just copied over. I press OK now. And then cancel. I'll take it back to the main screen. And if I reboot, I'm doing this live, so it's probably going to go wrong, but this is going to be fun. I'm going to restart the system. You should see that video appear. Now, you won't hear any audio, but you'll see the video.
Is it possible to add audio?
You know what? I haven't tested that. I would assume so, but I don't know so.
It never crossed my mind until now because we set something up similar on our PiCade, and we didn't use any audio for it, but I don't know why you would. It would be kind of distracting. That looks great.
Yeah, that's so cool,
So,
man.
You just literally render the video to the resolution of the screen, which in this case is 800 by 600. I'll put myself on the screen now so you can see me. And it just works. You can render at a higher resolution, but it all depends on what screen you've got. It'll just mix it down. It took about, I don't know, maybe an hour to learn how to use that piece of software to produce something usable. And I'm quite happy with it. But yeah, DaVinci Resolve, free software. You can download it and play with it, and you can make some really interesting videos. And you can also add videos to your PiCade, which is behind me.
That's awesome. Good work.
Cheers.
So do people use Pitop 4 for RetroPie?
Yeah, I mean, I do. Everybody, why not? We actually, one of our engineers, Will, he made I used to using different language to describe it, but it's a very cool, retro handheld gaming console. Actually, there's a video you can go onto our YouTube, just Pitop Team or Team Pitop, I think it is, and he made a Space Invader. So using these bits and pieces, he created, put a screen on the front of it, a Raspberry Pi screen, use the ribbon cable to connect it, and then use the metal build plates to create a kind of switch style, grip, and our buttons and all that. But then you could unfold it and it looked like a Space Invader. It's really cool.
That is neat.
Oh wow, that's really nice. Speaking of things that are neat, Ash, you have a thermal camera to show us.
I do. It's from Adafruit. I've got it right here. Now, this is a 3B Plus that I have lying around. It's the one I usually use for my Matrix, so that's why I don't have my Matrix up today. But it connects to the GPIO here, and this is what it looks like. This is the actual module itself. Now, let me look up the exact name of it because I don't want to get it wrong. This is an Adafruit AMG 8833 8x8 IR grid eye. That's a mouthful. I'm going to call it a thermal camera for the rest of our purposes here. So I'm going to go over to my OBS here and turn on my screen if it'll show it for the Pi. I accidentally closed it. Let me pull it up. There we go. So this is a real-time feed of what the IR camera sees, and my hands are way too cold to actually see any input. So I'm going to turn it around on the Pi, and you can see how warm that is. And what's interesting about it is it's actually very, very low resolution. And the extra pixels that you're seeing are kind of guessed by the software that Adafruit's using. But to set it up and use it, they've got, there's a library from Adafruit that you can install, of course, and use with Python. And this is just a little demo. Oh, there's my hand, you can see. This is just a little demo of what it's capable of. But you can incorporate this sensor into all sorts of projects, including a robotics kit. I think it would be neat to maybe make like a heat-seeking robot. Something along those lines would be useful. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Have you guys ever played with a thermal camera, and where would you use it if you were to put it into a project?
Jesse, can one use a thermal camera like that with a Pitop?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, anything that you can use with the Raspberry Pi, you can use with the Pitop 4. And
it's got the GPIO access on top, right?
Yeah, and by virtue, you can use that with Further, which is it's our browser-based software that you can connect your Pitop to it, and then you're sending code to a project. So you could do some really interesting stuff with that thermal camera. I guess it would be interesting in potentially in like an autonomous driving style project. You could or like a rescue style project. They have those rescue robots that people build, and thermal imaging would be super useful in that kind of application.
Yeah, I wondered about getting that because I've just been like, every time it's my birthday or a holiday, I just tell people in my family, like, get me a gift certificate to Adafruit or Pimoroni, and I end up getting just a variety of parts. And I was looking at the thermal camera. I was like, this seems so cool, but I'm not really sure what I would do with it. Les, have you used thermal cameras for anything?
I have, yeah. Let's see. I used Pimoroni's Breakout Garden thermal camera a few years ago just to mess around to see what could be done. And I overlaid a thermal image of myself with the Raspberry Pi camera at the same resolution, which is postage stamp. It's tiny, the actual picture, but I could see my face and the heat from my face and my face at the same time. It was overlaid. It was quite surreal, but it was great fun. But thinking of projects, I'm very of the moment as well. We all know COVID and coronavirus is everywhere, and one of the ways to check for it is temperature. You could have a temperature sensor above a door, and if a person has a temperature, it doesn't let them in. That could be handy.
Bad idea.
Would 64, would that low of a resolution do the job?
Probably not very well.
We might have to get them really close to the screen. We don't know. We'd have to test this, do some user testing.
You need more sensors.
Yes.
More pies.
Yeah, no question. Well, when I go to Taiwan, and I hope I get to go there again soon, but obviously because of the world situation, we didn't get to go last year. You normally at Tom's Harbor, we go once a year for the Computech show. When you're going through the airport, they have a temperature sensor that everybody has to walk through, and if your temperature is too high, they'll like pull you over and maybe quarantine you. And this was way before the pandemic. They were always just very concerned there. Anyway, that's all the time we have today, but I really want to thank Jesse for coming on today to show us the Pitop 4 robot. When is that coming out?
You can pre-order it now, and it'll be shipping out in the coming weeks. Yeah. Yeah. So pre-order it now so you can be one of the first people to get it. But I really appreciate you guys having me on the show. It was super fun chatting to everybody, and yeah, I'm grateful.
Thanks so much. As always, folks, you can catch us on YouTube, Facebook, and as a podcast after the fact. And of course, if you want to keep up with everything that Tom's Hardware is doing on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button so you can get alerted when we have more shows, because we've got a lot of shows going on this CES week. Bye, everyone.
Bye.